Hi, and welcome back to Epic Restorations. Today, we're going to begin assembly on our 2-tooth steering gearbox. In our last episode, we disassembled our steering box and steering column. Over the course of the past few weeks, we've spent time degreasing, cleaning, sandblasting, and prepping our old box for reassembly. We're going to do a full rebuild on this steering assembly, so we've got 41 new parts hot off the truck from Snyder's, and we're ready to get wrenching on it. So, let's get to the shop and let's get to work. In our last episode, we removed the old worm gear from the steering shaft. We added a little heat, used the upper race as a hammer, and we had it off in no time. To see how we did this, check out episode 22 in our series. Once the old worm gear was off, we cleaned up both ends of the shaft to prepare it for the new worm gear. Cleaning the rod will remove any grease, dirt, or debris that has built up on it over time. The cleaner it is, the easier it will be for the new worm gear to press on. With the shaft all cleaned up, polished, and ready, it was time to press on the worm gear.
So, we tapped the worm gear end with a 5/8 11 NC tap, so that we put threads in there. We'll take that out, got that nice and clean. Now, we bought a 5/8 rod, 5/8 11 rod. I guess I gotta get my nut on there first. And the only reason we bought the rod instead of a bolt, we needed a bolt with at least 6 inches of thread, and most bolts are only threaded about 2 or 3 inches. So we bought this rod. It would be nicer to get a 12-inch rod, would be plenty. All they had was this 2-foot. We're basically making a tool to press this up onto the shaft here. So the important thing is, if you can see the splines, this is the outer edge, because you can see that main spline right there. So it has to go on this way first. And you got to get this spline, and we mark that right there so we can see where it is. I'm going to try and mark this so we can visibly, there, see that silver? And then I'm going to do this too. I'm going to make just a little reference mark right around in there, because this will be flush when it's on all the way. Get that lined up. So now we got it lined up. I'm just going to make sure we got it started. All right. And these are hardened washers. No, oiled them. Now I'm going to go into those threads. And this will screw in. I'm going to screw it all the way to the bottom so I get the maximum number of threads in there. And then I'm just going to oil this shaft just a little bit oil. Get something on. And threads here. the oil we used. It's a paraffin-based, non-gumming, rust and oxidation inhibited, high temperature, must for heater blowers. Turbine oil. And then we'll use our 5/16 wrench, and we're pressing it on. Oh yeah, you can see her presses on nice. Of course, once it hits the where are those other splines, it's going to get a little tougher, but got about an inch to go. And as we get close, we'll check it, because it needs to be flush or your steering rod will be too long. There, I felt resistance, so I'm going to back it off. There we are. Nice and flush.
With the worm gear pressed onto the steering shaft, we're ready to begin assembling the two-tooth gearbox. Putting the gearbox together is quite a task though, so that will have to wait for another day. Join us next time as we continue the restoration of this classic Ford Model A and put the pieces of the steering gearbox back together again on the next episode of Epic Restorationz.